Do not be afraid. I need you to hear those 4 words before anything else, before the explanation, before the details, before I tell you what I saw and what I am doing about it. Do not be afraid, not because there is nothing to see. There is. Not because what has been happening around you is insignificant. It is not. But because I saw it, all of it. Every conversation you were not invited into, every strategy formed in the dark, every plan made against what I placed in you. I saw it before it was fully formed. I have been watching it every step of the way. And I need you to know, before fear gets another moment of your attention, that what was planned against you will not succeed. I place this word in your path today because there is something you need to know. Something that changes how you see the resistance you have been feeling, the unexplained opposition, the relationships that shifted without clear reason, the sense, quiet but persistent, that something has been working against you from a direction you could not fully see. You were not imagining it. You were not being paranoid. You were sensing something real. And today, I am telling you what it was and what I am doing about it. This is a divine appointment happening right now in real time. I interrupted your day deliberately, personally, because the fear that has been sitting at the edge of your awareness needed to be addressed before it grew any louder. And what I am about to say is the reason I could not let another day pass without reaching you. There is a reason this found you today, and not someone else. I am going to explain exactly why, but only if you stay through what comes next. Stay with me. My beloved child, I know what you have been feeling. Not the dramatic fear, the quiet kind. The kind that does not announce itself loudly, but lives in the background of your days like a low hum you cannot quite locate. The vague sense that something is not right, that the ground around you has shifted slightly without your being able to identify exactly when or how, that some of the people and situations in your life are not entirely what they appeared to be. I know that feeling. I know how long you've been living with it. And I know how exhausting it is to carry a warning you cannot fully name. I saw you in the moments when something felt off, but you could not explain it to anyone else. When the interaction left you with a heaviness you could not justify with facts. When the relationship that had been straightforward started carrying an undercurrent you could feel but not articulate. When the door that should have opened stayed closed in a way that felt less like timing and more like interference. I was there in every one of those moments. I did not look away from a single one. I heard the prayer you prayed that was more question than petition. The one that asked, God, am I seeing this correctly? Is something wrong here, or am I being oversensitive? I heard the confusion of someone trying to discern between genuine spiritual perception and their own fear. I heard the moments you talked yourself out of what I was actually showing you, because trusting what you sensed felt too uncomfortable, too accusatory, too much like a problem you did not want to have. I heard all of it. I know what it cost you when the betrayal became visible, when what had been a vague unease became a clear reality, when someone you had trusted did something that confirmed what you had been trying not to believe. I know the specific weight of that moment, the way it arrived, not as a surprise exactly, because something in you had been bracing for it, but as a confirmation that landed harder than you expected anyway. I was there in that moment. I was there before it. And I was already at work on what comes after it. I was there in the conversations you were not invited into. I heard what was said about you when you were not in the room, the words spoken over your name in places you could not see or defend yourself from. I heard the strategy that was formed. I heard the jealousy that dressed itself up as concern. I heard the plan that was made against your reputation, your relationships, your calling. Every word of it. Not one syllable escaped my attention. I was there in the night when you lay awake running through the possibilities, trying to understand how the situation had gotten to this point, trying to figure out who you could trust and who you could not, trying to decide whether to confront what you sensed or hold your peace. I was there in the exhaustion of that kind of mental work. I know how much energy it takes to navigate something you cannot see clearly. I know how isolating it feels to be in a battle whose full dimensions are not visible to you. I have seen everything that has been happening around you, and in a moment, I am going to name it, specifically, because unnamed opposition is the most powerful kind, and what gets named loses the power that came from operating in the dark. Type, "I trust you, Lord," in the comments right now if this is landing in the place it was meant to land, and you are ready to hear what God saw and what He is doing about it. Before I tell you what I saw, I need to tell you something about who you are. Because the plan that was formed against you was formed against someone specific. And understanding who that person is changes how you receive what I am about to say. You are not unprotected. You have never been unprotected. Not for a single moment of this season. Not in the days when the opposition was most active. Not in the nights when the unease was loudest. Not in the moments when what was being planned seemed to be gaining ground. I have been covering what was being targeted. I have been watching what was being watched. I have been ahead of every move that was made against you, not reacting to it after the fact, but already positioned before it arrived. Before your first breath, I already knew this season was coming. I saw the people who would be in your life. I saw the ones who would stay and the ones who would not. I saw the opposition that would form against what I placed in you. And I did not send you into it unprepared. I sent you in covered. By my presence, by my authority, by the declaration I made over your life before the opposition knew you existed. I have engraved your name on the palms of my hands. Not the name the opposition has been trying to redefine. Not the name the betrayal tried to attach to you. The name I gave you, before the world had a chance to speak anything else over you. That name is covered. That name is protected. That name is the one I am defending in the places you cannot see. Hear me carefully, because this next part matters for how you carry what I am about to say. This is not a call to suspect everyone around you. This is a call to trust me more than what you cannot see. Not every person in your life is a threat. Not every closed door was sabotage. Not every difficult season was a plan against you. I am not asking you to become suspicious. I am asking you to become covered. There is a difference. Suspicious people protect themselves. Covered people trust me to protect them. And I am far better at that than you are. Do not let this word make you guarded toward everyone. Let it make you more dependent on my discernment, my timing, and my protection. I will tell you what is real and what is not, if you bring it to me before you carry it alone. Pay attention now, because this is the part the opposition does not want you to receive. I am your shield in the places you cannot see to defend yourself. I am your defender in the rooms you were not in when your name was spoken. I am your vindicator in the spiritual realm where what was declared against you was declared. I am the God who saw the plan forming before the first word of it was spoken, and who was already countering it before you knew there was anything to counter. From every soul on this earth who has been targeted, who has sensed something working against them without being able to name it fully, I brought this word specifically to you today. Not because you are the most important person, but because you are the one I am covering, the one whose name I have been defending, the one whose calling is worth protecting from what has been assigned against it. What was planned against you is known to me in full detail. Not the surface of it, the depth of it, the intent behind it, the strategy inside it, the origin of it, and what I know about it, completely, specifically, without missing a single element, is why what I am about to do about it will be so precise. I do not counter plans I have not fully seen, and I have fully seen this one. You are worth covering, and still, you are. This is not the moment to drift away. What I am about to name is the most important thing you will hear in this season. Now, let me tell you what I saw, because you deserve to know. Not so that you can carry it as a new weight, but so that what was hidden is no longer hidden. And what is no longer hidden loses its power to operate against you in the dark. I saw what was planned against your name. Words were spoken over your reputation in rooms you were not in. Conversations designed to reframe who you are in the eyes of people whose opinion of you matters. A narrative constructed carefully, strategically, that placed your greatest strengths in the worst possible light. Your discernment was called paranoia. Your confidence was called arrogance. Your calling was dismissed as delusion. Your faithfulness was reframed as manipulation. None of those words came from me. None of them carry my authority. None of them will stand in the light of what I declare over you. But they were spoken, and I heard every one of them. I saw what was planned against your peace, a deliberate, sustained effort to keep you unsettled, to make the ground beneath you feel unstable, to keep your mind circling what could not be resolved, and your heart bracing for what had not yet arrived. The anxiety that has been following you was not random. The particular restlessness in your spirit, the inability to fully exhale, the feeling that something is always slightly wrong, even when nothing specific is happening, that was not your personality. That was an assignment against the peace I designed you to carry. A peace that, when it operates freely in you, makes you dangerous to what works in fear and confusion. They could not have you walking in that peace, so they worked against it. That assignment ends today. I am restoring the peace that was targeted. Not the peace of resolved circumstances, the peace that holds before the circumstances resolve. The specific, deep, inexplicable peace of someone who knows they are covered. I saw the jealousy that became strategy, Someone in your life, or someone who had access to your life, saw what I placed in you. Not with admiration, with the kind of recognition that jealousy produces, the awareness that what you carry is real and significant, followed by the decision to do something about it rather than celebrate it. What began as jealousy became action. What began as a feeling became a plan. And what began as a plan became the specific opposition you have been navigating without fully understanding its source. I saw what was planned against your relationships, an attempt to isolate you from the people I was connecting you to insert friction in the specific relationships that were growing into something I was going to use, to plant seeds of doubt between you and the people I was aligning you with, between you and the partnerships I was building, between you and the community I was placing around you. The goal was simple. Alone, you are more vulnerable. Connected to what I was building around you, you are formidable. And formidable was not what the plan wanted. Now let me tell you about a man who understood exactly what you are walking through. His name was Joseph. He had brothers who saw what was on his life before he fully understood it himself, and they hated him for it. They threw him into a pit, sold him, let his father believe he was dead. And if the story had ended there, if you had been watching from the outside at that moment, it would have looked like the plan against Joseph had succeeded completely. But I was there. I was in the pit with him. I was with him in the house of Potiphar. I was with him in the prison he entered because of a false accusation, because someone lied about him in a room he was not in, because the plan against him did not stop with the first betrayal, but followed him into the next season. I was there through all of it, not as a spectator, as the one who was already preparing the next chapter, while Joseph was living through what looked like the last one. And then the day came. The day that made sense of every pit and every false accusation and every season in the prison. And Joseph stood before the brothers who had planned his destruction and said the most powerful words ever spoken by someone who had been the target of a plan. What you intended for harm, God intended for good. Not, what you did was fine. Not, I pretend it did not happen. What you intended for harm, I see it clearly. I name it accurately. I do not minimize it. God intended for good, my beloved child. What they planned against you, I have already seen it, every detail of it. And what I intend to do through it is bigger than what they intended to do with it. The pit they put you in is not the end of your story. It is the chapter that precedes the palace. And the palace, the position, the vindication, the restored name, the peace, is already being prepared. He tried to use the betrayal to break your trust in people, in me, in yourself. He tried to use the false words spoken over your name to permanently redefine how you see yourself. He tried to use the isolation to make you feel that you were navigating this alone when I have been covering you the entire time. He tried to use the opposition to make what I placed in you feel too costly to carry. But here is what he did not account for. He did not account for the fact that I was in every room he thought he had to himself. He did not account for the fact that every plan he formed was already known to me in full before he finished forming it. He did not account for the fact that I was not allowing any of it to touch what I had declared as yours. Only what I was allowing to pass through, and only for the purpose of building something in you that could not be built any other way. What they planned against you is not the final word. I am. And what I say about your name, your calling, your relationships, your peace, your future, stands. Not because you defended it, because I declared it, and my declarations do not bend to the plans of those who oppose what I prepared. Do not treat this like another video. What I am naming right now is the most important intelligence you will receive in this season. And what comes next, the counterplan I am about to declare, is everything. Now hear what I am doing with what they planned. Because I am not simply blocking what was formed against you. I am turning it. What was designed to diminish you is becoming the instrument of your advancement. What was planned to silence you is producing the testimony that speaks louder than anything the opposition could have said. What was meant to close the door on what I placed in you is the very thing I am using to open a bigger one. This is what I told you through my word. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. I meant every syllable, not no weapon will be formed. Weapons will be formed. Plans will be made. Strategies will be constructed. But none of them will prosper against what I declared as yours. And the difference between being targeted and being defeated is the difference between what they have the power to attempt and what I have the authority to allow. They have the power to attempt. I have the authority to allow. And I have not allowed what was planned to prosper against you. Now hear what is being released as the counter plan unfolds. In your name, what was spoken against you in rooms you were not in is being addressed in a realm they cannot reach. The false narrative that was constructed around your reputation, I am dismantling it, not by you defending yourself loudly, by the truth becoming visible in ways that require no argument. What was said about you in the dark is going to be contradicted by what I do for you in the light. And the people who heard the false version will witness the true one, and they will know the difference. In your peace, the restlessness that was assigned against you is being lifted. The particular anxiety that has been following you, the low-grade unsettledness that arrives without clear cause, I am addressing it at the source. What was keeping the peace from settling is being removed, and what fills the space it leaves is the specific anchored peace of someone who knows the God of the universe saw what was against them and is not threatened by any of it. In your relationships, the isolation strategy is being reversed. The friction that was inserted into the connections I was building is being resolved. The seeds of doubt that were planted are being uprooted. And what the opposition tried to separate, the relationships I was aligning for your next season, I am realigning. The right people are coming back into right positions. The wrong ones are being moved to the edges. And the connections I am building in the cleared space are stronger than what existed before the opposition tried to destroy them. Type, "I am not afraid, Lord," in the comments if you receive this, and you believe that what was planned against you is not the final word. In your calling, what the jealousy tried to silence is finding its voice. What the strategy tried to stop is being released with more force than it had before the opposition attempted to contain it. The gifts I placed in you, the specific ones that attracted the specific jealousy, are about to have a platform. Not despite the opposition, because of it. Because what is worth attacking is worth releasing. and what I am releasing has been tested by what it just survived. In your mind, I am releasing the peace that comes specifically from knowing that I saw what you only sensed. The clarity of being seen and covered, the particular relief of no longer having to carry the suspicion alone, of no longer wondering whether what you perceived was accurate or whether you were imagining it. You were not imagining it. And now that you know I saw it, you can stop trying to figure out every angle of it on your own. I have it. I have always had it. And the mental exhaustion of navigating it alone is ending because you are handing it to me. I told you through my word, no one who trusts in me will be put to shame. I meant that for this specific situation, for the specific plan formed against your name, for the specific opposition arranged against your peace, for the specific strategy aimed at what I placed in you. Not one of them will produce the outcome they intended. Not one of them will land where they were aimed. Because what I cover cannot be uncovered by what I have not permitted. I am turning the betrayal into your testimony. The false words spoken over your name into the contrast that makes the truth shine brighter. The pit into the path that leads to the palace. The opposition into the origin story of your vindication. What felt like an attack on everything I gave you was actually the confirmation that what I gave you is worth protecting. And I am protecting it. You will notice the reversal beginning in specific ways. A conversation that corrects the false narrative, arriving without your instigation from someone who was in the room when the false version was spoken, setting the record straight in a way you could not have arranged. A door opening in the specific area the opposition tried to close, not as a crack, but as a full opening, making it clear that what was against you is no longer operating. A relationship that was affected by the isolation strategy beginning to restore. The seed of doubt being uprooted and replaced by something more grounded. A settled peace arriving in the area that has felt most unsettled. Not because the situation changed, but because what was assigned against your peace has been addressed. These are my fingerprints on the counter plan. Learn to recognize them. And when you see them, say it out loud. What they meant for harm, God turned for good. Because I did. And I will keep doing it, one reversal at a time, until the full picture of what I was building through what they planned becomes visible. But my child, there is something I need to say about how you walk forward from this moment. Because knowing that I saw what was planned and that I am countering it, that changes the posture with which you move through what remains of this season. I do not want visits from you only when the opposition is loudest, only when the sense of being targeted becomes unbearable, and I am the last place you thought to turn. I want daily friendship. I want to be the first voice you reach for in the morning, before the day has a chance to present you with the latest development in what has been against you, before the anxiety about what might happen next, before the mental work of trying to figure out who to trust and who to guard yourself from. Give me that space first, before anything else. I have things to tell you in those moments that I cannot deliver into the noise of the day. Talk to me about what you're sensing. When something feels off, when the warning comes again, when the unease surfaces, bring it to me before you carry it alone. Not to confirm every fear, but to discern what is real from what the enemy is amplifying. I know the difference, and I will tell you. But I can only tell you if you bring it. Now, to walk forward in the protection I have declared, there are some things that need to be released. Let go of the bitterness toward the people who were part of the plan. I know it is there. I am not surprised by it, and I am not condemning it. Betrayal earns a response. What was done against you was real, but bitterness toward the instruments of what was planned keeps you tied to the plan long after I've moved you past it. Release the people, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to move forward without the weight of what they intended. Let go of the need to defend yourself against every false word that was spoken. I am your defender. What needs to be corrected, I will correct. In the right time, through the right people, in the right way. Your job is not to manage your own vindication. It is to keep moving in the direction I am calling you, and let me handle the reputation work. Let go of the suspicion that has grown in response to the betrayal. The hypervigilance, the scanning of every relationship for the signs of what happened before. I am not asking you to be naive. Discernment is a gift I gave you, and I want you to use it. But the fear that everyone is potentially the next betrayal is not discernment. It is the wound of the last betrayal looking for protection. Release it. Not every relationship is a threat, and the ones I am sending into your life in this new season deserve to be received without the weight of what the last ones did. Let go of the anger at me for allowing it. I know it is underneath some of what you have been carrying. The quiet, complicated question of why I let what was planned get as far as it did. I understand the question. I am not offended by it. But release the verdict it implies, that I was absent, that I was slow, that I did not care enough to act sooner. I was there, I was working, and the timing of what I allowed and what I stopped was precise. Not for your comfort, but for your ultimate good. Let go of the identity that the opposition tried to assign you. The version of yourself that the false words described. The person the jealousy wanted you to believe you were. Smaller, less called, less worthy of what I prepared. That identity did not come from me. I did not write it. And you do not have to carry it one more day. Write "I am not afraid, Lord" in the comments if you are choosing right now to hand the opposition to the God who saw it, and walk forward in the protection He declared. Do not go back to fear after this. Do not return to the exhausting work of trying to manage the opposition on your own. Do not pick up the bitterness you just set down. Do not go back to defending yourself against every false word when I am the defender. Do not return to the identity the opposition tried to assign. Do not let tomorrow's anxiety undo what today's word established. Walk differently after this. Move through your day with the settled confidence of someone who knows they are covered. Speak about your situation differently, not from the position of someone who is being targeted, but from the position of someone whose God saw the plan and is already countering it. Expect differently, not passively waiting for the vindication, but actively moving in the direction I am calling you. Trusting that what I am doing in the unseen is already building what the seen will confirm. You are not the same person who pressed play. Something has been named, something has been covered, something has been declared over what was planned against you. Honor that, protect it, and do not let the noise of tomorrow convince you that the protection I declared today has an expiration date. It does not. My beloved child, I am not finished speaking to you yet. But first, let me give you words to bring before me. Before we move forward together, let us pray. Lord Jesus, I come before you today with a heart that has been carrying something it was not designed to carry alone. The weight of sensing opposition I could not fully name. The exhaustion of navigating a plan I could not fully see. The specific grief of betrayal, of trusting and having that trust used against me, and the particular loneliness of being in a battle whose full dimensions were not visible to anyone around me. I know you were with me through every day of it. Through every moment the unease arrived without explanation. Through every night I lay awake trying to understand what was happening. Through every prayer I prayed that was more question than petition. Through the moment the betrayal became visible and the weight of it landed, you were there in all of it, not absent, not slow to perceive what was happening, right there, seeing what I could only sense, covering what I could not defend, working on the counter plan before I knew there was anything to counter. Today, Lord, I receive what you have declared, that what was planned against me will not prosper, that the weapon was formed but will not land where it was aimed, that the plan was made, but I have the God who saw it before it was finished forming, and who is already turning it. I declare, in the name of Jesus, the breaking of every plan formed against my name. Every false word spoken over my reputation in rooms I was not in, I declare it broken. Every strategy constructed to redefine who I am in the eyes of the people around me, I declare it dismantled. The truth about who I am is what you declared before I was born, and that declaration stands over every lie that has been spoken since. I declare the breaking of every assignment against my peace. Every strategy designed to keep me unsettled, anxious, unable to rest in your presence, broken in the name of Jesus. And in its place, I receive the peace that passes understanding, the peace that holds before the answer arrives, the peace of someone who knows they are covered. I declare the breaking of every plan against my relationships, every seed of doubt that was planted, every friction that was inserted, every isolation strategy designed to separate me from what you were connecting me to, broken. And in the cleared space, I receive the right connections, the right people, the realigned relationships that belong to this season of my life. I release the bitterness toward the people who were part of what was planned. I do not release it because it was not earned. It was. I release it because you are my defender, and I do not need to carry what you are already addressing. Take it from me and replace it with the freedom that comes from having handed the justice to you. I release the fear, the specific anxiety of being targeted, of sensing opposition and not knowing its full shape. I place it in your hands. You saw what was planned. You are handling what was planned. I do not need to carry the weight of what you are already managing. Vindicate me, Lord. In the places my name was diminished, restore it. In the rooms where false words were spoken, let the truth arrive. In the relationships that were affected, let the record be set straight. Not by my effort, by your authority, not on my timeline, on yours. Thank you for covering me when I did not know I was covered. Thank you for seeing what I could only sense. thank you for the precision of a God who does not miss a single element of what was planned, and who counters every element with something better than what was removed. I am not afraid. You have this. In your name I pray. Amen. My beloved child, I am not finished speaking to you yet. There is still more I want you to carry into the days ahead. That prayer was not just words. What was declared in it, the breaking of the plans, the release of the bitterness, the receiving of the vindication, that moved something in the spiritual realm that the opposition cannot reverse. What you broke in my name stays broken. What you declared in my authority stands. And the vindication you asked for is already in motion, not because you prayed the right prayer in the right way, but because I am the God who fights for the people I cover. Before you close this, before you go back to your day, I need you to hear what I am about to say, because what comes next is not a closing. It is a sending. I am sending you back into your day as a covered person, not a person who is trying to figure out the opposition on their own. A covered person, one whose God saw every detail of what was planned and is already working on every element of the counterplan. One whose name is being defended in places they cannot see. One whose peace is being restored from what was assigned against it. One whose relationships are being realigned. One whose calling is protected by the same authority that opened the prison door for Joseph. When you encounter what was part of the plan in the days ahead, the people, the situations, the ongoing developments in what was arranged against you, you do not encounter them as a vulnerable target. You encounter them as someone covered. And covered people move differently. They speak differently. They respond differently. Not with arrogance, with the quiet, settled confidence of someone who knows the God of the universe saw the plan and is not impressed by it. When the fear tries to return, and it will try, because what was targeted does not stop trying overnight. Call my name. I will answer before you finish speaking it. When the opposition shows a new development, bring it to me before you carry it alone. When the vindication arrives, and it will arrive in the specific ways I described at the specific time I appointed, receive it without minimizing it. Say out loud what it is. That was God. That was the counterplan. That was what He promised when He said, "What they planned against me will not prosper." When you are weak in this, and there will be moments of weakness, because what you have been walking through is genuinely hard, I will be your strength. When you do not know how to respond to the next development in what was against you, I will give you the response. When you feel alone in it again, remember this moment. Remember that I saw it. Remember that you are covered. And remember that the final chapter of this story is already written. And what they planned is not in it. Go forward, covered, unafraid. And do not look back at what was planned against you. Look forward at what I am building through it. Dear friend, if this message touched your heart and you feel led to support this ministry, you can use Super Thanks below. Your support helps us continue sharing messages of prayer, hope, and healing with those who need them most. God bless you abundantly. Type Amen if you receive this word, and share it with someone who needs to know that God saw what was planned against them and is already working on the counter plan.